Hiya, and welcome. Okay, Streamlabs is Streamlabs done throwing a hissy fit? Okay. Hiya, and welcome back to Heart of Amethyst, the game that teaches us that, it's easy to be a disappointment to your mother. We had one job and we failed at it spectacularly. Yeah. Anything else to say? So let's just hop right in. I'm back. Sorry for taking so long. I enter the shop and yell as hard as I can. He won't admit it, but he's clearly losing his hearing. Soon enough, Mr. Biscotti walks into the room. He's still the same good old Biscotti. He hasn't changed much these past years. The man is built like an ox after all. Hiya! It has been a while. Took you long enough, boy. Welcome back. He welcomes me with a warm smile. His clothes are a little dirty and dusty. He's likely been rearranging and cleaning up the shop, and most importantly, the back room. Did you bring what I asked this time? Or will I be stacking wheat instead of meat? The old man begins to laugh hysterically. Poor guy thinks he's funny. Yeah, that just happened once. Besides, potato, tomato, not really a difference. He raises his eyebrow as if expecting that I actually brought wheat. But as I place the bag of meat on the counter, he smiles back at me. I'm not that stupid, you know. Never said you were. Still, you're not denying it. He says nothing to that, which makes me wonder if he actually thinks I'm that dumb. Either way, I decide to take off my cloak and place it on the top of my desk, which is quite the mess, I must say. What took you so long? You didn't run into any troubles, did you? I had to fight off 5 guards that were terrorizing a poor helpless man. I strike a heroic pose, trying to portray myself as some sort of savior. Really now, how come you're not injured? Because I'm a really good fighter. I shrug. Eli? What really happened? He puts on his fatherly face once again, clearly worried about my well-being. Why won't you believe my story? Because I've taught you better. I smile back at him, trying to ease his worries. Nah, I'm fine. I just took a little nap by the side of the road. No biggie. If you need to take a nap, why not use your bed? Well, the grass looked fairly comfortable, don't blame me. And it did. But I guess I was wrong because now I have an aching pain in the lower half of my back. Whatever am I going to do with you, boy? You need to take the situation more seriously. What if you get... He stops on his tracks to find the right way to proceed with that sentence. But he gives it up eventually as there was no way to salvage that. This turned to be a really uncomfortable situation. So I decided to cut him some slack and apologize. No need to get all worked up over something so silly. Look, I know what you're going to say, but I'll be fine. Sorry for worrying you. I'll try not to let it happen again. He smiles at that and walks towards me. I ready myself for a hug, opening my arms wide. But instead, I receive a punch on the back that makes me jump in pain. What gives, old man? You seemed in pain. Just trying to help you. He mischievously smiles back at me as he takes the meat with him and locks himself up in the back room. I rub the place of the impact, trying to get rid of the pain. Shit, this will leave a bruise. Probably. Need anything else? No need, kiddo. Just do your own thing for the rest of the day. I smile at that. It's always good. It's always a good thing to have time for myself. Although, to be honest, there's not much to do. I don't have many friends. Not anymore, at least. And the store looks clean enough, so I don't have to do that. What should I do? Hydration. Which one? Okay. I think hard for a second, trying to figure out what to do. Books seem like a good activity. Not the most entertaining one, but I'll make it do. I take a look at the bookshelf, running my hand through all of my options for this afternoon. We own a decent amount of books. Oh. We own a decent amount of books. I've read most of them. Except for my biggest enemy, the world's encyclopedia. I've never managed to finish this book. All the dates, facts, and important events just mix up in my head, making it hurt after 40 minutes of reading. Give or take, depends on my mood. Well, maybe today will be the day. Might as well give this old thing a try. So I sit near the window, placing the heavy book on my lap. It has over 100 pages, and most of those are filled with dates and general knowledge. We're really lucky to have this sort of book. Most people don't see it, but knowledge is really important in this world. I sound like the old man already, but it's true. You learn to value it as you travel as much as we used to. Anyway, I'm getting out of track. I need to focus or else I will never defeat this foe. The title reads Encyclopedia of the World, an Extensive Resume, Volume 2, by Callus XII, Grand Master of the Royal Library. Whoa, that's a mouthful and I haven't even started. Despite that, my will is strong today, so I pick a random section of the book and dive right in. After the goddesses created the world and the three races of it, 200 years passed before they decided to bless us with their magnificent gifts, which made the survival rate go up. Ironically enough, just 500 years after those were given the divine plan backfired, the birds from the north decided to colonize the rest of the land, killing the neighboring tribes as they saw fit. This would situate us in the year 3700 prior to Andreas, approximately. The war was initiated with the invasion of the birds on feline territory. The felines, who by that time populated the plains of the east, were casted away, relegating them to the desert. The deadliest wasteland you can ever imagine. No crops can grow in such a place, and the water is quite scarce. If more information about the wasteland is needed, please check the flora and fauna section of this volume. The horrible condition that the felines found themselves in made them migrate further east, where they discovered the Virgin Island instead of island of Thenia, making it their new home. This process took over 1,000 years approximately. Even then, some feline tribes decided to stay in the continent and live in the desert, creating the first scavenger tribes, which we shall discuss in the following volumes. Tracing back to the bird conflict, as the felines migrated east, they continued their relentless expansion on the mountain section of the continent, setting their eyes on the south, seeking to cast away the canines as well. By that time, the canine tribes were quite scarce, so against the growing empire of the birds, we didn't stand much of a chance. They killed thousands and enslaved even more. Luckily for us, the mountains and forest proved to be a safe haven, allowing a few to escape there. This status remained for over 1,200 years, meaning that by the time the felines had finally set in Thenia, the canines were being secluded to the icy mountains of the west. But this wouldn't last, because as the birds thought their victory was secured, a civil war ignited between the two opposing political bands. More information will be presented in the following volumes. The canines used this opportunity to take the capital of the bird empire, burning it to the ground and freeing the comrades that were being held as slaves. This event took place in the year 1950 prior to Andreas. Gee, I'm going to stop there. So many dates, wars, and whatnot are making my head hurt a little. Although that last date, if the Canine empires technically started in the year 1950 prior to Andreas, we're currently sitting at the year 567 after Andreas, and that means our society has over 2,500 years in the making. Which can seem like a lot, but considering that the whole continent was stuck at war for the first 2,000 years. Besides, there's one more thing. The fact that the apostle is never mentioned in any history book makes me curious. I don't know if my mom made up that story or if it was just lost with time, because pretty much nobody knows about the existence of the guy. And the church makes it look like Andreas was the sole savior of the world, as he stopped the whole war by himself. Anyway, enough for today. What else is there to do? Which one? I... As I gaze towards the shop's counter, I can see my old itinerary book sitting by the side. The old man must have been looking at it while I was gone. Whoa, this really takes me back. I had totally forgot this thing existed. This is a diary Mr. Biscotti gave me for my first birthday with him. I used it to record all the trips we made after he adopted me. That was a few years back. We pretty much went everywhere. I opened the first page and read the way I named it as a child. Ultra secret mission to find my sister and go back to the forest and be happy again. By Eli Biscotti. Oh wow, I really used to be a silly kid. This was the first time that I used his last name as my own, though. When I lived with Mom and Dad, we didn't have one, so Mr. Biscotti thought it would be a good thing to give me his. Gee, that old man really has done a lot of things for me, huh? I flipped through the pages. In them are described the many trips and plans we came up with trying to find Mary. We pretty much swept through the whole canine territory looking for her. There was no luck, though. Not a single person had heard about a young white vixen with purple marks on her body. We eventually stopped searching as we had no more leads to where they could have taken her. The conclusion we reached was that she must be somewhere in the higher city, the only unreachable place for us. The memory of my little sister comes back to me at full speed. She's probably a teenager by now, as I haven't seen her in 10 years. I haven't given up, I promise. I say to myself, trying not to think too hard on this. She's fine, and I will find her no matter what. I continue checking the diary, tucking the final page between my fingers. There's a cute drawing of two wolves holding my little self by each of my hands. One is obviously the old man. The other... I miss you tons, Miss Biscotti. I'm sure he does too. I trace the drawing with my fingertips, remembering the good times. She died 2 years ago from an unknown disease. Ever since then, things have been complicated. We don't sell as much anymore, as it was her charisma that brought people in. Besides, Mr. Biscotti is not the best merchant because his math and selling skills are really bad. He's good at finding rare stuff, but when it comes to bargaining, he's lucky he has me, and I'm lucky she taught me everything she knew. It's thanks to her that I actually know how to read and have a decent education. Well, that's enough sappiness for one day. Heck, if she saw me like this, she would be the first one to hit me square in the head with a book. I wipe my tears away real quick, which makes the sadness slowly go away. Now's my turn to take care of the old man. I need to be strong. For both of us. I won't let you down. I place the diary back where I found it, ready to do something else. Well, what else is there to do? Well, I mean, there's only one option left. Should I really do that now? I feel like it will take me the rest of the afternoon to finish up. I may be able to do something else first. Do it anyway? I mean, we might as well. This is by far my least favorite activity, but I might as well use the free time to sort out my mess. I sit on the chair taking a look at the insides of the drawers. There's a bunch of old papers and receipts that I figure I should check before throwing them away. So as boring as it sounds, I must do this myself because the old man isn't the best at keeping track of numbers and money. So yeah, here we go. Fun times. The afternoon goes by rather quickly. I just finished checking all the papers stuck in my desk. I wrote down all the important data and then threw away all the rest. I leaned back on the chair and sighed. This was supposed to be my free time and I ended up wasting it with work. I take a look outside. There's still a few stragglers finishing up their day. The sun is setting, filling up the room with a nice and melancholic orange light. You okay there, boy? Mr. Biscotti exits the back room. Looks like he's been polishing all the metal artifacts we own. Hopefully they'll sell soon. Yeah, sure. I just finished sorting out our money issues. We really need to sell some stuff if we don't want to starve next month. I stand up from the chair, reaching his eye level. Or trying to. I'm still on the lower side of the male population. I'll figure something out. Don't worry, kiddo. I raise my eyebrow, not really sure if I can trust this newfound confidence of his. Talking about sorting things out, your birthday is coming up next week. Anything special you want? Oh, I totally forgot. Is it really that time of the year? Whoa, I'm really getting old. I mean, I'm just turning 21 and I feel like I'm 40 already. I sigh, feeling the burden of the years suddenly weighing on my shoulders. It's been 10 years since I left that forest. What have I really accomplished? By my book, I've just been a nuisance to the pair that took care of me. What is that long face for? having second thoughts about becoming an adult. My ears perk up as I notice that I've just been staring into nothingness for a while. He must have read me like a book. The man is really good at that. Or maybe I'm just that easy to read. No, it's not that. I'm not really sure if I want a gift. You've given so much and it just seems a little unfair. I lie. He doesn't need to know my inner turmoils. It's better if I deal with them myself. Nonsense. You're my kid and you'll have a gift. So make your mind soon or else I'll pick it myself. He makes it sound like a bad thing, but to be honest, Mr. Biscotti is really good at making gifts. It is as if he knew exactly what I wanted just by the look at my face. I'll give it some thought. Thanks, old man. He pats my back and then climbs up the stairs up to his room. His heavy footsteps make it sound like the wood will break, but this house has been around for generations, so I doubt that'll happen. I should hit the bed myself. I'm spent. I take a last glance at my desk. Everything seems to be in order, except for buried among some old papers, which I must throw away tomorrow. There's a rusty old medal. I grab it, inspecting it. Hiya! It's the old emblem that I ripped off from that bastard's cloak. It brings back bad memories. That's why I stored it in the drawer. I don't like having it around, but it's true that this is the only lead I have left as to where my little sis could be. I grip it harder, leaving the marks of the metal on my paws. Thinking about them makes my blood boil. To be honest, I don't know what this thing is or what the symbol means. No person that I've asked has given me answers. Maybe I should take it with me again, just in case. With that in mind, I store the emblem in my pocket. Then I blew off the candles and head to bed. There's someone knocking at my window. It's so late at night. Okay, yes, I hear you. This better be good. I open up the wooden window, taking a look outside. There I see a dark figure standing in the middle of the street. It's giving me a signal by reflecting beams of moonlight onto his dagger. A code that I know far too well. I sigh, knowing that I have no other option than to check what he wants. I know this idiot. He must need something. So I close the window, put on my cloak, and exit my room. I make sure to walk slowly, making the wood under my feet crack as least as possible. I wouldn't know how to explain this to the old man, so it's better if he doesn't notice at all. What do you want, Pat? I was sleeping. The figure steps out of the darkness, revealing a very tiny-looking jackal. An old friend of mine, you could say. Yeah, no shit. I had to knock like 20 times. I sigh, clearly frustrated that I was woken up this late at night. My sleeping schedule is often a mess, and for once... What are you doing here anyway? I told you guys I'm not interested in going back to the gang. Those days are over. The little jackal is looking around as if he was doing something sketchy. Wouldn't surprise me. Pat and the others are always up to no good. Stealing, pickpocketing, vandalizing, among other things. That's what they do. Yeah, I know, but you have to trust me, White. This time we have a huge deal, and Hugo wants you there personally. He knows you're the best at picking locks. I huff knowing that is true, but I'm tired of hearing him talk. You guys always have an excuse to ask me back, but like always, my answer is still no. Night, Pat. Well, wait! I'm about to turn around, but the jackal grabs my cloak and stops me from leaving. He looks kind of desperate. I decide to give him a little more of my time. Not sure why, I just did. I'm telling you, White, you don't want to turn down this offer. Hugo has been really patient with you because of the past you guys shared. You don't want to ruin that, do you? Is that a threat? I grab him by the collar, lifting him a few inches off the ground. I also frown and growl, trying to look as intimidating as possible. You're a few inches away from being able to threaten me, Pat. I know, White. Didn't mean it like that. The little guy is shaking. He's always been a coward. The type of sketchy fellow who would rather let others fight for him. But he really needs help with this one. I'm telling you, it's big. I drop him as I raise my eyebrow. Normally Hugo isn't this insistent, but something feels off tonight, which piques my curiosity. Talk. I say coldly, but even so the jackal smiles happily. I knew you'd come around, White. Hugo will be happy to see you. I haven't agreed to do anything yet. Talk, Pat, before I lose my temper. Little guy squirms around, clearly shaken by the threat. He takes a few steps back from me and then clears his throat. So, you know the king, right? Obviously not. Oh, yes, dumb question. Point is, tomorrow Mr. King is finally running away with his tail tucked between his ass. A reliable source told us that tomorrow multiple carriages will reach the port at noon. With the king among them, of course, but most importantly, many of his riches. Wait, are you guys planning to... Yes, we'll steal from the king himself. We'll be rich, white, freaking rich, I tell you. This is big indeed. It's risky, but these guys know how to make a distraction, which means that I would be free to check the carriage myself. But is it really worth it? What if I get caught? I don't want to go to the cells again. Seeing Mr. Biscotti's expression as he saw me in the dungeon that time was heartbreaking enough. That being the real reason why I left the gang in the first place. But still, with that much gold, we could live the rest of our lives without needing to worry about a thing. Meaning that I could focus in the search of my sister while giving him the life he deserves. So, you in, White? His voice makes me jump as I was deep in thought. Balancing the good with the bad, I think this is worth a shot. It may actually be the last chance I get at earning good money. Tell Hugo I'll be there, but make sure you tell him that he better not bail on me again, or this time I will rip his balls off for sure. Understood? I knew we could count on you, partner. See you tomorrow. The Jackal nods a few times before setting off into the darkness. I watch him vanish in front of me. He may be weak, but he sure knows how to vanish. Once I make sure he's far away, I lean on a wall and then lie on the floor. I look up to the sky and sigh, not sure if I took the right decision. But there's no turning back now. I have to commit to this. So they better have a good plan. The next morning comes up real fast. I didn't get much sleep though because my mind kept racing back and forth thinking about the decision I took yesterday. I can't help but wonder if I rushed it. And nothing can go wrong. Mr. Biscotti gave me breakfast and tried to chat with me. But I'm far too distracted to put up a decent conversation. Hey boy, you okay? Seems like your head is in the clouds today. That snaps me out of it. I try to feign a smile, but he knows me far too well to fall for that. I didn't get much sleep last night, that's all. Something on your mind? Gee, am I that obvious? You could say that. Yeah, I'm just not ready to be a grown-up. I try to come up with something on the spot. He has no reason to doubt me, so I hope he buys it. Well, it has its ups and downs, but you'll get through it. You're a really smart boy. Oh yeah, thanks. Really? Is that all you got? Come on, Eli, come up with something else. Oh, I was thinking, I still haven't decided on a gift yet, so I'll do that today if that's okay. Don't worry, I'll just be out for a little while after lunch. Need anything from the central market? He places his hand on his chin and looks up, probably trying to remember if he needs anything. Eventually, he denies with his head. Not at all. You do your thing and be careful, okay? Thanks. We didn't do much for the rest of the day. When it was time for me to leave, the guilt in my gut almost ate me alive. Because when he saw me leave, he smiled. Oof. Now I'm standing in the promised alley waiting for Pat to show up. Soon enough, I see the little Jackal's figure down the street. He enters the alley trying not to look suspicious. So, I ask, feeling the palms of my hands sweating like crazy. It's been a few months since I did this, and I don't feel ready at all. Hugo and the others are in place already. We'll just wait until the carriages arrive. They'll make sure to create a nice and explosive distraction. Then it'll be just you and me, like old times. I huff at the last comment. Hugo may be a sketchy guy and a big jerk, but at least he has some sort of honor. Pat, on the other hand, I wouldn't bet a single Andres on him, even if my life depended on it. Relax, White. After we steal from the king, we will be swimming in gold. So, what's the signal? No, trust me, you'll know. Just wait for a big bang. My ears perk up at that. Does that mean Hugo is using his fire magic again? Why would Hugo use fire magic again? Is he crazy? Don't worry, White, he won't. This time, our provider made a deal with a merchant from the east. And you know what they say, cats make the best explosives. He winks and giggles back at me, not really calming me down. The opposite, actually. Well, at least that idiot won't be using magic. Although, what sort of benefactor did these guys get this time? If they bought from the felines themselves, they must be wealthy. No use beating around the bush. Need to focus. Okay then, we need to climb this roof so we can see them coming. After you then. I move to the side and allow him to jump onto the wall. The little Jackal tries to climb the wall, but his legs won't even reach, making me chuckle at the sad sight in front of me. He huffs annoyed. Poor fella can't help but be tiny. I kinda understand his pain. I'm not the tallest man around, so I decide to not be a jerk and help him out. Here, give me your foot. I squat, placing my back to the wall as I join my hands together, giving the little guy a stepping place. Can we not talk about this? My lips are sealed. Time passes and I begin to have my doubts. What if their source isn't reliable and it just played them? Wouldn't be the first time these idiots got scammed by a reliable source. I remember the first time when a guy told us there was a secret gold mine outside of the city skirts. The catch being that we needed to pay them 10 gold coins. I did say it sounded dumb, but Hugo thought it was worth the shot. Turned out to be rocks. I gazed into the distance, feeling sleepy all of a sudden. We've been waiting in this roof for a while, and nothing has happened. Tired of waiting, I stood up, stretching my now sore muscles. Seems like you guys got scammed again. I'll head home. Wait, you can't leave. The sun is already setting, Pat. We've been here for hours. I'm not spending another second frying myself on this roof. But I knew that I shouldn't have trusted them, but a part of me really wanted this to be. I stop in my tracks as I hear the sound of horses approaching. Wait, are those really... Get down! Pat drags me down, making me land on my ass. Shit, it hurts. But I have no time to complain, as in the distance I can see 3 big and luxurious looking carriages. See? I told you this was the real deal. Now let's get ready. We lie down as close to the roof as possible, trying not to let the guards see us. According to their source, our target is the last carriage, the vault. The first one is the most guarded one, as there are 5 guards around it. The second and third only have 2 guards surrounding them, which makes obvious where the king's at. The first 2 carts pass by us, and as the third one comes in front of us, cover your ears. What? Oh, wow. Before I even acknowledge what's happening, there's a big explosion in a building a few houses ahead of us. It was really big, bigger than anything I've ever seen. As my senses finally come to, I can listen to the people running around, scared for their lives. The smoke fills the streets quickly. The darkest smoke I've ever seen, and the smell is really strong. Did the cats really make this? Ah, shit, the mission, I almost forgot. Looking around, I spot Pat running towards the vault already. I follow suit and get down from the roof as well. Most of the guards are guarding the king's cart or running around like idiots trying to find the culprit. This gives us the perfect chance to reach the vault unnoticed. Okay, work your magic, White. I'll keep watch. Alright, gotcha. But make sure to keep watch. He nods as I get on my knees for easier access to the padlock. Once in position, I take out the lockpick. I close my eyes as I insert the device into the keyhole. All the noise makes it difficult to focus, but I have to make do. I block their annoying screams and focus on my own heartbeat. I carefully move the lockpick around, making sure to notice any little noise or any sudden halts that my device comes to. The first gear takes me some time, but I eventually manage to break it. From there, the second one breaks easily. Yet the third... Hurry up, will ya? Shut your mouth, Pat. These things take time. He gulps, making sure not to make a single noise. And while I appreciate that, I would appreciate breaking his nose even more. But that's besides the point. Either way, I close my eyes again. Come on, just 2 more and we're done. You can do it, Eli. There you go. Third one is finally broken. Gee, that jerk put on a real fight. Come on, baby, just 1 left. I can do this for sure. There, 4. Pat, I got... Something extremely heavy hits me, sending me flying across the street. I swear that I heard my bones cracking. I hope to be wrong. I try to regain my strength, but I can't breathe and my limbs feel numb. My head is spinning and everything is blurry. I can hardly see a thing, just shapes running around. What the hell hit me? Don't move, runt. As I was trying my hardest to stand up, a second hit to the gut surrenders me to the ground. I puke a little, feeling my insides suffer from the sudden pain. My mysterious attacker pins me under him, making it impossible for me to escape. Shit, this bastard is heavy. Feels like I can't even lift a finger. What is he, a bloody bear? Put out that fire and make sure the king is safe. His voice is strong and carries a lot of power. It's even a little scary. I can't really see who he's talking to. All I can barely do is hear pieces of what the others are saying, but nothing is clear. Damn, my head hurts like hell. And you, stand on your feet. I'm taking you with me, rat. He grabs both of my hands and places them behind my back, then forces me up, lifting me as if I were a mere feather. I grunt at the pain and try to break free, but he has an iron grip. It's hopeless. I've been caught. Again. Slowly my vision comes to. I turn my head around, finally catching a glimpse of the scary-looking Wolfman that has been keeping me captive. Volgor from Far Beyond the World, is that you? Looks a lot like you. He is a big black wolf, at least a head taller than me, and pretty much a mass of muscles, which I can easily notice under his heavy-looking armor. He has a few scars on his face, a face that gives off a certain aura of authority and power. Oh yeah. Oh no, it all went wrong! An overall scary-looking night. Looking around, there's not a single person on the street anymore. They must have all fled because of the explosion. With their screams quieted down, all I can hear is the snapping of the fire. A sudden flow of guilt runs down my spine as I finally notice how much damage we did. We messed up real bad. And of course, I'm the idiot that gets caught. I'll kill Pat, I swear it. Please, dude, let go. I didn't mean... Quiet. Speak another word and I'll cut your head clean off. He can't do that, can he? I check him up again. He has a claymore attached to his back, which is not surprising because he probably has the strength to swing that thing as if it were a mere toy. That sight makes me gulp, as I know he's not just bluffing. He can kill me easily with that thing. I frantically try to break free from him, but the wolf wasn't letting me go anytime soon. Try me. He whispers to my ear, making my blood run dry. Not only that, but he also manages to unsheath his blade with only his free hand. I'm screwed. He held me there for a while, until the sun had almost disappeared in the horizon. He never got tired or even moved an inch. He just commanded the other knights and waited. The fire's been put out and the other guards are dispersing the curious ones that wanted to catch a glimpse of what was happening. Captain, everything has been taken care of. One of the many guys that has been running around approaches us, bowing in front of my captor. I'm guessing this jerk is a big deal. Well done. Go back to your post. The knight nods and walks away as quick as he came, not saying a word and never looking back. Now there's only one thing left to do. I quickly find myself being forced to the ground. The big wolf hit the back of my leg, giving me no other option but to kneel. I'll execute you right here. That ought to teach your buddies a lesson. He gets a sword ready. One swift strike from that, and I'm done. Am I done? Am I really going to die here? Please, don't do it. I would stay still if I were you, or else I might not cut your head properly. His voice is cold. He's really going to do this. I'm so sorry, Mr. Biscotti. Suddenly, the door of the front carriage opens, and a very old-looking fellow steps out of it. He's wearing a very expensive-looking suit and looks as if he would break at any given moment. I've heard rumors that the king is over 90 years old, but seeing it this close... Your Majesty, please remain on the cart. Everything is being taken care of. Well, if everything is being taken care of, then I don't see why this old wolf can't stretch out his legs a little. The big man grumbles, but says nothing else. Meanwhile, the king turns his gaze to me. Or I think he does. I can't tell for sure because of the hair covering his face. He walks closer as he is clearly inspecting me. Then his eyes land on mine. He stares at them for a full minute, his face turning sour as if he just saw a ghost. This is honestly a little embarrassing. By the goddesses. Sir Roderick, who is this boy? He's a mere street rat, your highness. He'll be executed on the spot as a lesson to the others who will most likely be watching us. The mention of my execution makes me tear up a little. No, I don't want to die. Please don't. Quite, don't you dare speak in front of the king. At ease, Sir Roderick, no one needs to die, especially not such a young soul. That seems to shut him up for good. He didn't let go of me, though. A guy can dream. Here, child, stand up. The king kindly helps me back on my feet. Of course, I'm still stuck on Roderick's grasp, but it's better than being on the floor for sure. He never stops looking at me, as if I were a unique animal that he just found. Heavens, it's really you. What now? I say back, but I clearly irritated Roderick as he holds me tighter, and I hiss from the immense pain. Sir Roderick, please, do not hurt this child. But sir, he's a mere street rat. He tried to steal from you, and it's highly likely that he and his companions ignited the fire. Yes, that seems to be the case, but I must have a chat with this child. So get him ready, Sir Roderick. We shall take him with us to Rose Island. That statement leaves both Roderick and I speechless. Neither of us knows how to respond to what the king just said. He says nothing after that, lost in thought as he stares into my eyes. My liege, are you certain that's a good idea? You don't know this kid, and he's a criminal. He finally snaps out of it. Meanwhile, I remain quiet throughout the whole interaction between the two of them. Clearly traveling to that fort is better than to be executed in the middle of the street. But what would they do to me once we're there? Sir Roderick, don't make me repeat myself. He shall accompany us to the fortress. I'll leave you in charge of the security as per usual. The king speaks with a commanding voice, quite impressive for an old man, because he managed to shut up the night. After that, he just vanishes back into the carriage, leaving me at the mercy of the wolf. You're lucky the king has such a great heart, you little rat. Now, go to sleep. Part? The last thing I saw before losing consciousness was his mighty fist hitting my face. After that, nothing comes to mind. Just darkness. I don't dream, I don't feel, I don't think. Just darkness. I've never seen anything like this before. Is someone there? What is it? I can faintly hear some voices. I'm not fully conscious yet, so I can't say for sure, but they both sound like males. I ain't risking it. I am not risking nothing. I am not risking anything. God damn it, wrong thing. There we go. I'm not risking anything. These marks are not normal. They're not tattoos of any sort, and I can sense a faint ancient magic coming from them. Besides, his iris. It's purple. Purple? Are you sure you checked properly? That's impossible. Wrong program. I know what I saw. Check for yourself if you don't believe me. There's a momentary silence, and then I feel a gentle touch. He presses his paw against my face, but then moves it away. Nah, I believe you. Better not wake the sleeping beauty. That book is awful. You should read something better than that. Said touch suddenly moves to my chest, and then my torso. Do you think they reach further down? You mean the marks? Yeah, they do. They're engraved throughout his whole right side. Meaning that he has them on the dick too? There's a sudden awkward silence. Oh, by the goddesses, you checked his dick, didn't you? Of course I did, you idiot. The king asked me to run a whole checkup on him. Well, how did it look? I'm not telling you that. Okay, yeah, I think I'm done with the conversation. Time to wake up. Okay, thank God. He's wearing pants. Slowly but steadily, I regain my vision. I can see two men standing by the end of the bed I'm laying on. The room itself looks extremely fancy, and I must admit that I feel really tempted to keep pretending to be asleep, just to be able to lay on this bed for longer. They haven't noticed that I've opened my eyes already, so I could probably pull it off. But there's no real point in doing that. I need to know what the hell is going on. I try to stand up, even if all the muscles of my body beg me not to. Oh, you're awake. Careful now, mate. The brown wolf walks closer, greeting me with a smile. His voice is sweet and calming, same for his all-over behavior. Besides, his face is void of any malice as he kneels beside me. Try not to move, mate. You got a very bad head injury. He's right. You should rest while you can. The other guy spoke. His voice is colder and monotone, as if he was a speaking corpse. Who are you? Name is Almond. Guy over there is Achilles?
Self-voicing enabled. Name is Almond. That guy over there is
Achilles.
Self-voicing disabled.
Where am I? As I ask that, the two of them exchange a worried look, but soon after return their gaze to me. Do you recall what happened? Some details are fuzzy, but I can clearly remember what happened before Jerk Dick hit me in the face. Achilles, got it. Talking about my face. I can't feel it. It's so numb that I don't feel anything at all. Seems that you can at least remember the hit, but I'll ask again. You remember what happened? Dang it, I'm freaking out. What the heck happened to my face? What did they do? Now, give him a break. He got his ass beat pretty bad. Relax, mate. Your face feels numb because of the medicine we used, so try to relax, okay? Thank you. He smiles back at me, making my cheeks feel a little warm. I'm not sure which of these two makes me feel the most uneasy. The extremely cold one or the overcaring other. Almond moves a few steps back, giving me enough space to try my footing. I can't at first, but after a few tries, I managed to stay up. I tried to steal the cargo, and I got my ass beaten. I catch Achilles off guard by answering his question, and he says nothing in response for a brief moment. The weird-looking fox nods as he writes something down on a piece of paper. A weird silence fills the room until Almond gracefully breaks it. So what, Almond? Will he be okay? He's got no brain damage. His face will take a few days to fully heal, but aside from that, nothing major. Any broken bones? I ask, as I feel a stinging pain on my right side. I can still clearly remember how hard I hit the ground when I was first punched. That guy has a really strong fist. None, luckily, but I can understand why you would feel pain. Roderick mentioned that he kicked you quite hard. So, if you have problems breathing, let me know at once. Huh, so it was a kick. Good to know. Still, thinking back, I really had it coming. I should have never trusted those guys again. They always find a way to get me in trouble, and I'm dumb enough to fall for it. Wait, you didn't answer my first question. Where am I? Sorry about that. We wanted to check if you remembered anything. We're in Laguna Fortress, Rose Island. So it was true, but why would the king bring me here? Laguna Fortress is a castle built a few centuries ago. It's situated in the middle of the Great Lake in Rose Island, which is not far from Yagner. In a few words, this is the royalty's secondary castle. I'm sure he'll explain it to you. Don't worry, mate. Talking about that, we should let Roderick know that our guest is awake. The king wants to meet with him, after all. The mere memory of that black wolf makes me shiver. I was hoping to never see him again. Well, it is kind of late. Wouldn't it be better to wait until tomorrow? How long was I out? Judging by the moon position, it's past midnight. Past midnight? That means I've been here for at least 6 hours. Mr. Biscotti must be worried sick. Shit, I need to go back to town. There's someone important to me there. You're not going anywhere, runt. The black wolf enters the room suddenly. It seems as if he was listening to the conversation and waiting for the perfect time to make his entrance. Can he walk? His tone of voice seems rather irritated. Can't help but wonder why. He barely can. Maybe try not hitting the king's guests next time. He should be a prisoner if you ask me. Doesn't matter. Get yourself decent, runt. The king wishes to speak with you. He moves a little closer to me, inching his hand to grab my wrist. Luckily for me, Almond intervenes and forces the knight to take a few steps back. What do you think you're doing? His response is aggressive and forceful, but the tinier wolf doesn't move an inch, keeping a neutral face at all times. He needs some time. We should wait outside while he gets changed. He gives me a soft smile, then turns around and opens the door for the other two, clearly signaling them to step outside. Ikalis shrugs and exits the door, but Roderick sends me a last nasty look before walking away himself. As for Almond, he lingers for a while, clearly wanting to say something. So, your clothes... He points to a box under the bed where my shirt and cloak have been neatly folded. Please don't take long. See ya. As he steps out, he closes the door behind him. Silence soon fills the room. I stand there by myself, not entirely sure how to feel about this. The whole situation. It's crazy to think that I would ever be standing in a place like this, but rather than a dream come true, this feels more like a nightmare. Goddess is what I'd get myself into. I walk closer to the box and kneel down beside it. Soon enough, a floral scent hits my nose. Seems like they washed it. I take the shirt and put it on. My cloak is inside the box as well, but I don't think I'll be needing it. Oh my god, yes. I then look around the room. Everything just looks expensive and shiny. Even the material that's not supposed to shine does. The whole place is filled with luxurious decorations and furniture. And let's not forget about the bed. I felt like I was sleeping on a cloud. Hurry up, runt. I hear Roderick yelling from the other side of the door. I sigh, feeling unsure if I should actually go out there or just jump through the window. Take a glance outside in case that is an option, but my hopes are soon shot down. I'm currently very far away from the ground. I'm on a tower. A very tall one at that. So, with that option out of the way, I ready myself to open the door. My palms are sweaty, and I can notice how my breathing is speeding up. Palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy, there's foam out on my sweater already. Mom's spaghetti's nervous. I'm diving into the unknown, and I'm scared. Please, Mom, protect me. I say to myself, finally grabbing the handle and opening the door. And nothing can go wrong. Once outside, I'm met by the cool breeze of the night. Ikalis and Almond are nowhere to be seen, which unfortunately leaves me by myself with the huge angry wolf, whom is leaning on a pillar, his eyes locked on the distant city which can be seen from here. Took you long enough. It's this way, don't fall behind. He turns around, giving his back to me and heading towards the end of the hallway, not saying another word. His tone is cold and distant, but it's not hateful and furious anymore. I wonder if something happened. Either way, I follow him through the many hallways of the castle. He told me to keep up the pace, but I can't help and be a little curious about this place. Everything is so new to me. I've never been to a palace like after all. Taking a look around as we walk, I can see a few candles lighting the corridors. There are also some banners and fancy-looking portraits hanging from the wall. On them, I can see paintings of landscapes and wolves wearing fancy-looking costumes. The royal family, I presume. There's a specific portrait that catches my eye. In it, you can see the old king who must be in his 50s or 40s. Accompanying him are two young teenage wolves. I'm guessing his two sons. There are many rumors surrounding them, as nobody knows for sure what happened to them. Runt, hurry up. I hear Roderick yelling from the end of the hallway. I take a last glance to the portrait before heading his way. After many more steps, we finally reach a very big wooden door. He stops so suddenly that I end up bumping into him, yet he doesn't budge an inch. Is this guy really a canine? He could be a bear in disguise if you ask me. Scary animals, I tell you. Mr. Biscotti and I got attacked by one once. The king is waiting for you inside. Try anything, and this time I won't hesitate. Understood? I nod, not wanting to get on his bad side. Or not more than I already am. He says nothing else afterwards, pushing the door open for me and standing still by the entrance. The first thought that comes to my mind as I see the room behind the door is huge. This place is ridiculously enormous. There are row after row of pillars on each side, many windows, and a huge red carpet leading to a throne? It's a very big and nicely decorated chair, but aside from that, it's just a glorified seat. The king is currently sitting on it, looking as old as always. No surprise there. Come closer, boy. I do as he requests, taking a few steps closer to the throne. The room is very spacious, so it takes me like 30 seconds to actually reach his side. Impressed? You should see the throne room at the royal castle. That one is 10 times bigger. Up close, I can finally notice how tiny he looks sitting on this huge chair. His legs don't actually reach the ground, yet he sits straight up and tries to look as imposing as physically possible for him. His body language doesn't match his tone, because he's speaking very casually to me, like I was his long-lost grandson. Or that's the vibe he gives to me. Still, I can't help but feel uneasy. I'm not sure how to address this man. I don't want to seem disrespectful. Should I kneel? Better safe than sorry. I decide to lean on my knee and bow in front of him, looking straight to the ground as I do so. That's not really necessary, my boy. Please stand up. Yes, my king. I stutter my words as I stand back up. I don't like the idea of talking to him like this. Not after what I did. I appreciate that he didn't kill me, but somehow it just feels wrong that he's this calmed about it. Don't be so tense, boy. I just wish to have a casual conversation with you. I was actually planning on inviting you for dinner, but you were asleep for longer than I expected. If by sleep you mean unconscious, then yeah, I guess that's fair. I'm not sure of what to say, so I just listen to him talk. May I know your name? I'm sure you must be tired of me calling you boy all the time. Eli, sir. That's my name. He places his hand on his gray beard. I can't really tell by his expression, but it seems like he's lost in thought. I stare at him a little too long, and eventually our eyes meet. I look away immediately, both in shame and fear. He sighs to that, but a smile never leaves his face. Are you sorry for what you did, Eli? The question catches me off guard. I can feel the shame eating me from the inside, making me feel like that time when I got arrested. Shit, I just keep messing up. Why can't I do anything right? I am, sir. I really am. It takes me a moment to actually formulate the right words. The explosive. I didn't know that it would be so big. They didn't tell me it would be that large. I'm not trying to make excuses, I swear. I really didn't know. I begin to get worked up, but he calms me down by raising his hand and signals me to slow down. It's okay, it's okay. Don't fret, Eli. I can see that your heart is in the right place. If nothing, it's my fault as a king that such a young soul ended up like this. As he says that, the old man looks legitimately angry, to the point that I notice him gripping his cane harder. It takes him a moment to recover his calmed demeanor, but as soon as he does, his smile returns to his face. How old are you, boy? I'm 21, sir. Not technically true, but I'm just 1 week away from my birthday, so I guess it doesn't really matter. And are your companions as young as you? Companions? Yes, you mentioned that someone didn't tell you about how big the bomb was. May you tell me who they are? Damn it, I let that slip. He confused me with all that nice talk, and now he has me right where he wants me. The old man is playing his part as a good guard perfectly, luring me to believe I was safe with him. Yeah. Has this been a trick from the start? Will he just kill me once he gets the information he needs? Would he do that, though? Is this man that kind of person? Oh crap, I don't know. I've never been in a situation like this. Maybe I should just tell him all he needs to know. Maybe he'll be merciful if I spill the beans. Should I really do that? Am I really going to betray them like this? I mean, this might save my neck, and they are not exactly my friends. But being a dirty snitch just feels wrong. I don't know, sir. They hired me because I'm good at picking locks, but I have no connection to them. The king remains quiet as he seems to be pondering my words. My palms are sweating, and I'm pretty sure I must be shaking. Alright, one last question before we continue. Roderick insisted that I ask you this. how did you acquire such a big explosive? Did your people strike a deal with someone? Anything you can tell me is welcomed. It figures that it would look suspicious for some street no one's to own such a dangerous weapon. But what led him to believe there was a third party involved? Gee, now I also want to know whom this benefactor was. Sadly, this time I can't tell him anything, even if I wanted to. I'm actually not sure, sir. They said they got it from a guy, but they never mentioned a name or even a race. This time I try to be as truthful as I can to him, leaving all the details about the gang out of it, of course. Those jerks better thank me properly, if I make it out alive, that is. Alright then, the serious talk is over. Walk with me, Eli. The king throws his crown at me and I barely catch it. Is he crazy? Isn't this thing worth like a million Andras? He just nods and smiles before standing up. Good catch. You have excellent reflexes, my boy. Thank you. I reluctantly place the crown on the ground and keep an eye on the old man's movements, in case he wants to throw something else at me. But he doesn't. Instead, he just moves past me, walking to the other side of the hall. So I follow. Why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself, Eli? He looks back at me expectantly, making me feel even more nervous than before, as now he wants me to do the talking. Well, I don't know what to say, sir. I enjoy reading. Oh, you do? That's wonderful, boy. Books are so interesting, aren't they? I guess so. Is this man for real? What the hell do you want from me, old man? Get to the point. Have you read the Holy Scriptures? It's well known that the young ones don't really care about them much, but I think we should all read them at least once in our life. I have read them, sir. I have lied again. I mean, I've glanced through them, but I've never truly been interested in our Savior's words and teachings. Because I still believe in what my mother told me, even if the rest of the world seems to be so oblivious of the existence of the Apostle. And where do you hail from, Eli? You're not from Yagner, are you? I'm from a no-name village to the southwest. I see. You've come from far away, then. Have you enjoyed your stay in the city? I fake a smile, trying to make it look as genuine as possible. If you knew all the awful things that your shithead guards do, I'm sure that beard of yours would fall right off. But I'll refrain. It's probably not the best moment to talk trash about that, at least not in front of the king himself. To some extent, yes, it's been interesting. There's no need to lie, boy. I've been surrounded by scheming snakes for longer than I like to admit. I know how to recognize a fake smile when I see one. Besides, I know the situation in the town isn't the best. Even as he said that, his smile returned to his face as if he found the whole thing amusing. That makes me angry because I can't help but think about all the people that suffer daily because of this jerk's incompetence. I grip my fist and give him a nasty look, but he returns a smile instead. Yes, I know what you're thinking. Why haven't I done anything? Correct? If you always knew, then why? Why do you let them suffer like that? Do you know how hard it is to make it to the end of the day? The people struggle, and all you guys do is sit on your asses on your expensive chairs. I let my anger get the best of me. I clearly stepped out of line, but screw it. It's so frustrating to see him laughing about it when hundreds suffer. The man remains quiet, but as I stop my rumbling, a sad smile crosses his face. Because I can't. Sadly, this is not my kingdom anymore. I've outgrown my responsibilities. And now I'm just a useless old man. His answer takes me by surprise. He's not mad at me for yelling. He just seems angry at himself. But you, my boy, you're the ray of hope I've been looking for years. I'm sure that the goddess has brought you to me with purpose. He looks to the sky through one of the windows. He's still smiling. Me, on the other hand, I'm as confused as ever. What does that mean? Let an old man have his secrets. I'm sure you'll find out in due time. He says nothing after that. We just stand there in silence. He looks outside while I look at him, trying to process what he just told me. But as hard as I try to think of a reason, I can't find any. Eli, tell me, are you aware of what happened to my sons? I tilt my head, unsure of what to say. I merely know the rumors. Supposedly, they went on a trip to the border of the territory. As they passed the mountains, they got attacked. One of the king's sons was murdered, and the other ended up injured. Truthfully, nothing has ever been confirmed. I just know they got attacked. But nothing else. It was about 26 years ago. My second grandkid had just been born, and his father, my older child, had to go with his brother to a political meeting. I can still remember the look on his face. He was rather worried, as he had to leave his little baby at my care. Same for my younger son, as he left me his kid as well. His puppy was older, though. 2 years older, if memory serves me right. He chuckles sadly, keeping his eyes glued to the moon. Luckily for me, the maids were there to help, or else I wouldn't have been able to take care of those little rascals on my own. He laughs once more, and I just stare dumbfoundedly at him, still unsure of where he wants to go with all of this. A week after, a messenger told me that Marcus had died and Richard would soon follow him. Luckily, the goddesses blessed me and decided not to take my younger son with them as well. Still, they took a sight. I was devastated. My 2 boys were ripped away from me just like that. That day I made an oath to make this kingdom a safer place and still be king while doing so. It's been almost 30 years since then, and I've done nothing. I feel bad for the little man in front of me. I often call him useless, but I've never stopped to think how hard it must be to run a kingdom, especially at his age. And why haven't you passed the crown yet? Is that why you haven't passed the crown yet? I would like to think so, but things are never as simple as they seem. Never forget that, boy. Another phrase to leave me wondering. Half of the things this man says makes no sense. Sir, why are you telling me all of this? Finally, I managed to snap his attention back to me. Would it be enough if I told you that an old man just wants some company? There are many scenarios where that is a valid answer, but not this one. I really want to know, sir. Mind if we walk a little before I answer your questions? There's no real need to rush things. I sigh, but the man decides to walk a few steps around the room, not paying much attention to me anymore. I just limit myself to follow beside him, giving the company he claims he wants. The old man clearly knows something I don't, and I'm falling right on his game. But what are we even playing? What does he want from me? After a few minutes, he finally stops, the light on the moon reflecting on his gray fur. Alright then, now that I've stretched my legs, I feel rather honest. Tell me, what do you want to know? The first question that comes to mind is a rather obvious one. Will I be able to leave the island anytime soon? The old man places his hand on his chin and caresses his beard slowly. I look at it with anticipation and wait for the answer. I think that for now, the best is to keep you here. You're not a prisoner, Eli. You'll be able to leave if you prove yourself to be trustworthy. Please try to understand. You attempted to steal from the king, and you could have killed me with that explosive. That's high treason, no matter how you look at it. I sigh, not surprised at all. I knew it wouldn't be so easy, but it didn't hurt to try. May I request something then? He nods, taking his eyes off of me and directing them towards the moon once again. I take a look at it as well. It's a full moon, really beautiful. I want to send a letter to my mentor. He must be worried sick, and I want to let him know that I'm okay. And would it be okay to send him some gold as well? I help him with his shop, and without me, he'll have many difficulties making money. I can arrange for that, Eli. Consider it done. I'll make sure a letter reaches him, with some coins added, of course. His smiles seem sincere, which calms me down a little. I still feel bad for leaving like that, but at least now I know he will be taken care of. Thank you. Of course. Anything else you need? Well, all there's left to know is, why am I here? Is there something you need from me? Are you saying you don't want to be here? No, sir, that's not what I mean. I know nothing about your intentions. I'm just a stray from the street. Yet you say that I'm the hope. Why? Oh, Eli, I was just joking, my boy. Don't make that face. I can't help but feel frustrated, as he seems to take nothing seriously. Please, sir, just help me understand the situation better. Yes, of course, I understand. But like I said, I can't reveal all my cards. At least not yet, boy. What does that even mean? Is he actually just trying to play some sort of sick, twisted game with me? Damn it, I hate being left in the dark like this. Considering my options, I think the best one is to keep playing along as best as I can. What card can you reveal then? The old man takes a few steps closer to me and places a hand on my shoulder. I have a proposition for you. His smile widens as he takes his time to formulate the next sentence. Ellie, how would you like to become my retainer? I stare at him, not really sure what he means by that. What is a retainer anyway? I'm sorry, what? The old man laughs at my ignorance. Total biscotti vibes on this one. I'm giving you a job, young fox. A very well-paid one at that. You'll just have to keep me safe and keep me company from time to time. It can get rather lonely in this castle after all. I'm actually taken aback by this. He's not serious. He can't be. Me, a nobody from the streets working for the king himself? There's just no way. But sir, I'm nothing but a lowlife. I'm no knight nor warrior. Of course, but that doesn't indicate your real worth. I can sense it, boy. You have potential. So don't worry. It has all been taken care of. Starting tomorrow, you'll be instructed both academically and physically. Did he had all this planned from the get-go? What is this? It's Eli. There has to be a reason behind it. I'm pretty sure that's it. Have I been mispronouncing it this whole time? Gee, I feel so powerless right now. I hate it. I remain quiet as I try to focus on my thoughts, which seems to be all over the place. But then the king coughs, bringing my attention back to him. So what's your answer, Eli? As if I have any choice to begin with, and he knows it. That's why he has the damned cheeky smile on his face. I'll need to accept, but I'm not giving him the satisfaction to know how annoyed I am. Well played, your majesty. I'll be honored, your majesty. Ah, splendid. I look forward to seeing your progress. The king playfully slaps my butt and laughs it off soon after, as if nothing happened. Gee, what the heck is wrong with this old man? But it's rather late. You better hit the bed, boy. You have a busy day tomorrow. Sir Roderick, please come in. He yells loudly, and soon after the door opens. The knight enters the room with a sore look on his face, I might add, which he tries to hide with a frown as soon as he sees me looking at him. Sir Roderick, great news. Sir Eli accepted my offer and will be working with us, starting tomorrow, of course. So I've heard. He says with a certain annoyed tone on his voice, but this time I can't tell if he's mad or just tired. Either way, I don't interrupt them. I've learned to remain quiet around Roderick. If you may, escort Sir Eli back to his room. He must be greatly tired. As you wish, my king. He bows once more and then turns around towards the door. He doesn't spare me one single look, but I'm sure I must follow. So I give the king one last smile before setting off to the hallway. Back to my room it is. After a little walk, we return to the tower where my room is at. This time, I'm a little out of breath as we had to climb many stairs to get back here. I'm so ready to hit the hay, but as I went to open the door, I'm not risking anything. Hold it. The knight grabs my wrist and holds me in place. Oh, it's just that. Okay. It seems that has become a habit between us. He's not inflicting any pain, but he's not letting me go either, so I'm not sure what I should do. Ah, dang, you can't let me be. Can he just let me be? For once? Listen, Runt, the king is a very kind man. More kind than I would like, but I have no right to complain about that. His face seems tired for a moment, but he soon regains his usual aggressive self. He then gets closer to me, making me feel a little uncomfortable. My point is, while I don't trust you, I respect his choice to take you in. So you better make sure not to screw this up, or else I'll make you regret it. His eyes lock with mine, and this time I get a real good glance at them. They are as red as blood, and they seem to be full of conviction. I nod, slowly and carefully, his face mere inches away from mine. I can even feel his hot breath hitting against my nose. He's out of breath as well, so I guess I'm not the only one who got tired by the stairs. Good. And with that said, he lets go of me, turning around and slowly walking away until he disappears at the end of the hall. I remain there for a while, still feeling the pressure of his hand on my wrist. I guess my life won't ever be the same again. I better start getting used to all of this, because for now, this craziness turned into my reality. We're going to leave off here tonight. Ah, yes, the best activity to commit with your friends. Treason. That is clearly the best activity to perform with your friends. Nothing else can be said, so stay safe, have a good night, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. It was something.